Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the First Class Sports Podcast.
Hello.
My name is Bobby.
I'm Doug.
And today is December 13th, 2023. You guys may have noticed we skipped another week. Last week we did not drop one. I wasn't really say sick, but I was trying to kill off whatever this is. I still kind of have some sort of congestional thing.
Whatever going around.
So with the way, with Eric's situation, I kind of called him off. And so I really just didn't even make it up the next day. So apologize about that. We'll kick it off here. Eric apologizes. He messaged me first thing this morning, said he couldn't be here. So we'll work with what we got going into the holiday. So I'm not sure about Eric for next week, but I'm going to try to bully Steven and Eric into coming next week. We'll see what I can do. Try to pull it off. So we'll do a quick recap of last week. I'll just do some numbers here. I went 7-8, giving my total 124 and 84 for the year. Dad, you went 8-7, giving your total 115 and 93 for the year.
Ouch.
Eric went 7-8 with me. He's 119 and 89 on the year. So that's recapping a little bit of week 14. We are about to enter week 15 of the NFL. Quick news. The NFL increased its international games to 8 starting in 2025. They also announced today that they will play a regular season game in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yep.
That is the first time they will play in South America.
Oh, I don't know. Mexico count? They played in Mexico.
Not in South America, though.
Yeah. South of the border.
All right. But Mexico is still in
Central America.
No, right, but isn't Canada,
America,
USA, and Mexico part of North America? And then you're talking South America,
right?
The other continent.
Yeah, I think Mexico kind of falls in the category of Central America. Possibly.
That's not a continent.
No, it's just Central America.
No, but if you're talking about a whole different continent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this would be the fifth continent they've played in. The only two would be Africa and Antarctica, I suppose.
Australia, I believe, counts as a continent.
Yes, but I think they said that they would. There was something I saw that said that they played there at some point in their history. I don't know. I questioned that as well. But from what I saw, it was only those two. So I don't know if they played somewhere in their history. No idea.
If they have, I don't remember it. Must have been a long
unless it's
ago.
one that they're trying to schedule in 2025. So there's
I'm
that.
sure the teams that get to go on that one would be thrilled with that flight.
Right. The last bit of news that came out today is which I didn't actually save it. Drat. They announced that they will be playing the 2027 Super Bowl in
SoFi
Stadium. Yep. And I think the next 4. I think it goes Vegas this year, and then the Superdome, and then it comes back to Santa Clara, which would be San Francisco.
Levi
Stadium, and then SoFi. So it's
SoFi.
all West Coast for the next few years. So anyway, I don't really know if we're going to recap. We might recap the games as we do some of this. Let's just quickly go through some of these. We can go right into week 15. And as we're talking about those teams, we can kind of talk about those teams in week 14. So week 15 starts tomorrow, Thursday, with the Chargers at the Raiders. And the Raiders are coming off a snooze fest where they lost 3-0 to the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vikings were working on their third-string quarterback because Dobbs went out, I believe, I can't remember his injury, maybe a concussion. Not sure.
I think it was a concussion.
But they had to have a backup come in there. And, of course, the Raiders are working off, I do not believe Garoppolo played. So, they had Adrian O'Connell, whoever that is. So, anyway, but here's the thing about the Chargers.
They don't have Justin Herbert anymore.
Herbert just went on IR with a broken finger.
I think he had surgery, I believe, today or yesterday.
So he's done. And then also news, Keenan Allen will not play tomorrow. Their other wide receiver. They're already without Mike Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to be without Keenan Allen. So there's another weapon gone for whoever the Chargers' backup is. I do not know who that will be.
So this could be a really ugly game again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an Easton Stick, whoever that is.
As the quarterback?
Yes.
The Chargers?
Yes. Whoever Easton Stick.
Never heard of him.
Yep. So you'll have him against the other guy. Yeah, this could be...
Yeah, the Chargers were struggling to put up points
already
with Herbert. And that's been
I don't know if they were struggling to put up points. The other teams
struggling to
couldn't
win.
score.
Yeah,
but again, that's because the Chargers are a team who can put up 40, but the other team is putting up 42.
Oh.
But again, the Raiders just put up 0 against the Vikings. But the Chargers' defense is a completely different story. I do think I'm going to go with the Chargers, however.
I have the Chargers selected too. Just
I don't like anything the Raiders have to offer. Next, we have 2 Saturday games. The first one is Vikings at Bengals. Vikings are coming off of that win, 3-0.
wow, yeah.
And Bengals are coming off of a blowout victory against the Colts. They looked absolutely unstoppable. That could be because the Colts could not get out of their own damn way. But they look good. Even though they had a backup in there, Browning's looked good.
Yeah.
The 2 games that he's had to play for Burrow, he's looked very well. And the defense of the Bengals has looked good too. Now, the game in Cincy was awful.
Right.
It was cold. It was almost basically snowing. But they're back in Cincy, and I don't know the weather going to be Saturday.
It shouldn't be that bad.
But Vikings, yes, they are a cold weather team, but they play in a dome.
Correct.
So I do trust this Bengals a little bit. I thought they would falter after losing Joe Burrow. This Browning guy's coming in here and playing a great backup. And so I know JJ's back.
Yeah.
JJ's back for Minnesota. But, you have Mullins. If Dobbs can't come back, it's Nick Mullins.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Vikings are playing with their third string quarterback now, too, so.
No, I'm going Bengals here. I just, the Bengals, Mixon had himself a day against the Colts defense. He had 79 yards. Browning threw for 275. So, I just, I don't see the Vikings after putting up 3 against the Raiders going into the Bengals.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
So, yep, I'm definitely going Bengals.
I'll go with Bengals.
Next Saturday is Steelers at Colts. Now, Steelers lost at home on Thursday to the Patriots. Now, we were talking trash about the Patriots because, their last 4 games, they put up, 0 points, 6 points, 6 points, 7 points.
Like that,
and then they go into Pittsburgh. They go into Pittsburgh, which should have a solid defense, and put up 21. And I'm like, how the hell is Pittsburgh just allowing this? Pittsburgh did not look good. Mitch Trubisky looked like garbage because he's Mitch Trubisky. It was 4th and 2 to try to continue the game and try to either tie or win. And there's memes all over social media because Mitch Trubisky on 4th and 2 threw a Hail Mary type pass to and I'm just like, you need 2 bloody yards and you're throwing a 50-yard bomb. What are you doing? And if that was a play call, that was the play call. But Bailey Zappi threw for 240 and 3 touchdowns on Pittsburgh's defense. On Pittsburgh's defense for New England. Whereas the Colts over here, they had absolutely no run game, which hurts for Minshew. I think you need that run game. We only had 46 yards on the ground. without Taylor. Taylor, again, did not practice today.
Oh, yeah, he's still going to be out for this week?
It's looking like it. Not for sure. It is only Wednesday. I would say if he doesn't practice by Friday, well, no, we have a Saturday game. Shoot, I'd say maybe by Thursday. If this was a Sunday game, he'd have the extra day.
Right.
But Pittman is out there playing ball still. He had 8 for 95. Pierce had another great catch downfield. Minshew just still looks a little. If anything goes off script, he's done for the day.
Right.
If one thing goes wrong, he goes into full panic mode and turns into a bouncing rabbit in the pocket, and he looks confused.
He just gets happy feet, and he likes to throw high.
And if T.J. Watt's out there, and I think he got hurt, and so I don't know if he's going to be there, but if he's out there, he could cause massive problems.
Yeah.
And so that's the guy that I'm worried about. Like I said, for the Browns, the guy I was worried about for the Browns was Myles Garrett. And what happened? Myles Garrett caused a few problems when he played. Now, we still should have won that game. That was the game that the refs robbed us from.
Right.
I'm going to this game, by the way. Buddy at work had season tickets. He can't go. And so he offered me tickets. And so Zach and I are actually going. First time back in Luke.
Hopefully it'll be a halfway decent game.
So, this year, we're 1-0. I don't know if I can go against the Colts if I'm going. So as much as I don't like this game, I am going to go with the Colts just because I'm going.
I've got the Colts down. Something really weird seems to be going on in Pittsburgh right now. With the team, the organization that you just haven't seen with Pittsburgh in a long time.
You can say that with New England, too.
They've had some just with Pittsburgh, they've had a few bad seasons, but they've always been a steadier organization.
I don't think.
And it just seems like there's resentment, animosity. What's happening in the background there? This seems different.
I don't think Mike Tomlin has had a losing record as a coach.
I think he had 1 year, maybe.
1 year he was 8-8. That's not a losing record.
Okay, well.
They don't count that.
Okay.
You can't do an 8-8 record unless you go 8-8-1.
Right.
Currently they sit at 7-6. So currently he would still have a winning record, and we are at 7-6.
Yeah.
So we are technically still in the 7th spot. This decides it. We're fighting with, I think, Houston. Houston lost last week, so that helps. Then you got the Bengals, which are fighting back. They're at 7-6. And then you got Pittsburgh at 7-6. Mm-hmm. They're all fighting. This is that down stretch, down the road, that we need to win our games. We have a solid Bengals we should have beat without Joe Burrow. They're playing with Mitch Trubisky. I think they're still playing with Mitch Trubisky. We've got to be able to beat Mitch. He's awful. He's an awful quarterback.
It seems like there's some infrastructure. It's just something's different about this
Pittsburgh team?
Pittsburgh team.
Yes. I don't disagree.
The coach should hopefully take advantage of it.
We'll see. You're right. Let's just hope we do. So we're both going Colts, and I really hope they pull it out.
It's a good day.
Zach and I will be there.
Maybe they'll have the window open or something here at the stadium.
It might be cold. I bet he'll close it.
Let a little cool air in fall football.
Next, Denver at Detroit. We got to talk about your boys for a moment. What the hell? We were talking they were one of the powerhouse in the NFC, and they've dropped, what, 2 or 3? They've dropped 3, I think?
Green Bay.
They just lost last week.
To Chicago.
Chicago.
And they almost lost the week before that, I think, to Chicago just before Green Bay beat them. They struggled. And I had to go back to what did they do in week 12 or 13?
I don't know. You'd have to go back there. I don't know.
They beat the Saints. They got past the Saints.
Okay, they did beat the Saints. Okay. So yeah, that's fine and all, but
they're just. I think some of the shine has worn off them this year. People are thinking, okay, these guys have really turned around. They're really making a play for it. No, I would not even consider them as one of the top
make the
teams right
playoffs.
now.
They'll make the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs,
But then it'd
but
be first round
they're
exit again.
not going to last long.
No, unless they figure out
Yeah.
what the hell went wrong. They even got a wide receiver back. But no, and then so it's the game we're talking about right now is Denver.
The Broncos
Denver
at Detroit.
at Detroit.
It's at Detroit.
This is 3 Saturday games, homie. I thought there was only 2. There's 3.
That's
This
it.
is the third Saturday game. This is the evening
The
game.
late game.
This is the late game. Good Lord. I have the helmets wrong. No, I don't. They're fine. So it's Denver at Lions, and this is the 8:15 primetime game. How about that? So, listen, this is why I don't like this bar. This bar is heavily favoring your boys. I'm never taking them in this instance.
No.
Denver is really hot, and I know they did just trounce the Chargers without Herbert, 24-7. Denver is now 7-6. I think after starting 2-5 or something like that.
Yeah.
They're now 7-6. They're another team fighting right there, and if the Chiefs aren't careful, Denver could take this division. The Chiefs, they're 7-6. What are the Chiefs now after their freaking game? They're 8-5. They're a game behind.
Yep. Denver has,
Let Russ cook.
yeah. Denver's gotten things turned around better, and
I'm 100% taking Denver in this instance.
as much as I'm hoping that the Lions are finally getting it turned around, and being a team to watch and enjoy back up there. After the last couple of weeks,
Lions gonna lion.
they've just been turning back to the old Lions. Their defense isn't holding up for them, and games they should be winning, they're not.
So Lions lost to their rival, the Bears, and it wasn't necessarily even close.
And
It was
that,
28-13.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
Justin Fields, since he's come back, has looked really good. I'm not gonna lie.
that stomping they took on Thanksgiving Day
Yeah,
wasn't good. They were
No,
terrible
that-
Thanksgiving
th-
Day.
th- those were 2 teams. So you beat a you beaten. It was in conference, but it wasn't in your division against New Orleans.
Right.
But then your other 2 losses are in division. You lost to the Packers on Thanksgiving Day. You don't want to do that, and then you lost to the Bears. You can't do that. You can't have these losses in division like this, because Lions now sit at 9-4.
Yep, they're good.
So watch out for the Packers too. I know the Packers just lost 2, which also helps them on Monday night, but I don't think they're going to lose the division. I don't think there's any way they're going to lose the division.
I think they'll hang in there. They'll still take the division, but they're the confidence that
Yes.
people had in them as
Earlier.
far as maybe making a run deep into the playoffs,
Yeah,
I think is quickly wearing off.
yeah. They should be a 12-team win right now, 12-win team. Yeah. So I'm going Broncos. You're going Broncos. Next is Bears at Brownies. Now Brownies did just beat Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence did come back. He did not look good. He had 235. No, he had 257 through the air, but 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Took 4 sacks. Joe Flacco came in for the Browns.
Oh,
Threw for 311 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. After being gone for how long?
he was well rested.
Oh, yeah. All right.
There you go.
No rust off of that fool. And you know what? As good as I actually think this is going to be a surprisingly good game. I think this could be a surprisingly good game. I am going Browns here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go Cleveland. Which could Colts. You do your damn job. That would drop them Jaguars to 8-6, and we would be at 8-6, and there's still a fighting damn chance for the division for the Colts. So we want Jacksonville to lose here.
They're playing the Bears.
Who?
Browns.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I was looking at last week. Stupid. Anyway, so where is Jacksonville? We'll talk about Jacksonville. I do that. I look at the other game. So that did help us that they did win. But Browns winning does nothing for the Bears.
Jacksonville probably will lose when we get down there, but they're further down the
They're
list.
further down. Yeah, I always mess that up looking at this, the old game and the new
Uh-huh.
game. I've done that quite a few times. I get confused. I'm going Browns against the Bears.
I got the Browns.
So moving on, we'll go Tampa at Packers. Packers lost on Monday night to the Giants, which you originally had, Giants.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think I talked you out of it.
I should have known better. Should have stayed with your original picks.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, Green Bay was doing good, I thought. And then
I've changed a few picks and have gotten lucky, but more often than not, if I change it, I blow it and lose it.
Yeah. Tommy DeVito came in through 158 and 1 touchdown. Barkley, for a team, New York rushed for 209 yards on Green Bay. Jordan Love had 218 and a touchdown. Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. I mean, I think they did win, but they beat the Falcons last week.
Course, yeah.
That's they're both 6 and 7. That's not like a deciding win. You still have Baker. Baker is mediocre at best. I think these are 2 mediocre teams, and so I really don't know. Packers sitting at 6 and 7. I may give it to the Packers simply because it's in Green Bay.
In Green Bay, yeah.
Probably going to be a cold game going up against a Tampa team. I don't know how much it's going to affect Baker because Baker's from, he played a lot of years in Cleveland in a cold area. Mm-hmm. We'll see. I just think, I'll give it to the home team.
Yeah, I'll go with Packers on this one. Tampa. Yeah.
All right. Who are you going with?
Packers.
You're going Packers. Okay, both going Packers. Next. This is interesting. Division game. Texans at Titans. Now, we talked about the Texans. Or have we? No, we have not talked about the Texans. Who did the Texans play? Okay, they played the Jets. Texans got blown out by the Jets, 30-6. Mm-hmm. CJ left with a concussion, but it looks like CJ played a lot of this game because he already had 23 attempts in this game. So it's not like he, didn't play this game. Zach Wilson looked pretty good. He had 301 yards, 2 touchdowns and 0 picks. So Zach Wilson actually had himself a day. And then you go to the Titans, and boy, how the hell did they do this? I think Miami was up like 14 or 13 with like 4 minutes left. And Titans come back and win this game 28-27. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
But, Tua took 5 sacks. They got to Tua 5 times. The Titans defense did. They didn't allow a passing touchdown. He did have 240. They allowed 158 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry only had 34 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. So, looks like they did have 83 yards as a team, the Titans did. Will Levis threw for 327. I believe C.J. Stroud is still in concussion protocol. He did not practice today. He needs to have, I believe, 2 full practices before he can play.
Right.
To be cleared.
And I'm also wondering if, like you've always said...
Shit. That's my fault.
Huh.
I did a motion. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Now that they've gotten film on C.J. Stroud, are they starting to figure him out a little bit?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. We will definitely see on that. I'm leaning Titans here.
I've got the Titans.
I'm leaning Titans, which would help us continue to try to get this division. But if C.J. Stroud can't go, I think their other one is David Mills. So, the more Will Levis plays, the more I think he gets comfortable. So, I think I'm going to go Titans. Next is Jets at Dolphins. This could be really interesting. I definitely do not think Zach Wilson repeats what the hell he just did. I don't. There's a little injury here and there to some wide receivers for the Miami. So if they get healthy, I still think they're a very, very dangerous team. They do have one less day since they played on Monday, and now they're playing Sunday, so they have a little bit less rest. It is in Miami. I'm going to go Miami. They are a very dangerous team. I just don't see the Jets pulling this one off like they did against Houston.
This being a conference game or whatever? Division. I'm going to go with the Jets on this one.
I don't argue
this
that.
Is one of my, I guess this is my one one upset game for the week is.
Divisional games can play out that way.
The Dolphins just sometimes play down to the competition or something, but I don't. They're good. They've got the weapons and everything.
I also am wondering I can't remember how long ago Aaron Rodgers came off of that. He had his 21-day window open. When do we start hearing if he can play? Because if he can't, if they don't bring him back into the roster after 21 days, he's done. He's done for the year.
Right.
They cannot bring him back after that. So I don't know how close we are on that.
I'm thinking that's a real mistake to bring him back in this year. Putting him back out there and just jacking up the leg again.
I mean, if they truly win out and go 9-8, I don't even know if that, because they're sitting at 5-8 now.
Yeah.
Even if they have to win out just to get to 9-8, I don't know if that gets you in the playoffs.
It'll be close, but.
So next we go to Chiefs at Patriots. Patriots are coming off of a win against Pittsburgh, but before that they were doing dog crap. Chiefs are coming off of a 2-game losing streak. And some controversial nonsense on that one to go with it. Chiefs just lost to the Bills 20-17, but the Chiefs easily could have won if the homie was on sides. Kadarius Toney, we've talked about him. I think Eric and I have clowned on him for being a trash-ass wide receiver. He's dropped about 30 footballs this year. I think, from what I remember, I think I saw a stat that Kansas City wide receivers, when throwing the ball, have dropped 8% of their passes, which is highest in the league in like 30 years.
Yeah.
He can't have the wide receivers who catch balls. The only person who can catch a ball effectively is Travis Kelce. Who's a tight end.
He can throw a pretty good ball too.
So he can. So if Kadarius Toney was onside, I may try to have this play behind me. If he was onside, Patrick Mahomes throws a ball to Travis Kelce, who then avoids a safety tackle, but then he's about to be hit by like 2 other players. And Travis flips his hips, and in one solid motion throws the ball back like 10 yards. Perfect spiral to Toney. Toney is alone on the left sideline and just runs in for a touchdown. Flag on the play. Toney's foot was on the damn line. He's offside. Massive controversy all over the freaking field. Patrick Mahomes was pissed off. Head coach
Danny Reed.
He was coached. Look, and I've never heard him be upset about calls before. The thing is, the refs do normally warn players when they're getting offsides. Like, hey, you're offsides, step it back, blah, blah, blah. I believe on this play I did see that Toney checked. Now, maybe he checked too soon, because normally wide receivers look over, do a check. Am I onside? Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It did look, a lot of people are like, he never checked before. When I watched that play before, it does look like he glances over and checks with the ref. Now, maybe he did lean, I don't know. He is on the damn line.
He is.
They weren't arguing the fact that that shouldn't be a flag. That wasn't their concern. Their concern was there was no warning, and normally they've always gotten that for as long as Andy Reid has been a head coach.
Right.
He's never gotten that call because they always warn him. Hey, step back. And there's something funny, and I may throw this picture up here. I'll show you this picture right here. About the very next day, Miami had a player
Got it. Yeah.
right on the line, didn't get called. All day, that Miami Dolphin guy was on the line, never got called. And it's like, it's more of a refs, if you're going to call it, be consistent and understand your surrounding. That was not the time to call that.
The one thing about it was the ref at least threw the flag at the very beginning of the play. Mahomes still had the ball in his hand before he even threw it when the ref threw the flag. So it wasn't like one of these, oh, look at that, they just scored, here's a flag to nullify.
Right.
You know, the flag was already on the field before Mahomes even threw
There's
the ball.
There's another play where Von Miller was same thing. He was way offsides earlier on in the game.
Right.
No call. Because he was on the line. And they showed it. They're like, how come this wasn't called? It's like, you refs aren't consistent. And you decide to throw it at the worst humanly possible time. And Peyton Manning actually came on when he was on Monday night talking about it. He's like, I would have rather seen him call that and blown the whistle dead so we didn't get to see what happened. Mm-hmm. Because that they would have showed in Travis Kelce's Hall of Fame bid as one of the best plays he's ever done. That highlight was fantastic if that was an actual play.
If it had stood.
If it had stood. But now, because the refs want to play frickin', ruin games like they always have this year, it seems like. They've ruined more games than I can count this year. They're just taking away games. And I don't like that because it's like consistency. They don't have it.
No.
If you're going to call it, call it. Call it down the line. And they're just not this year. So, and then New England's New England. I think for this game, Chiefs are going to have to bounce back.
Yeah.
If they lose to New England, it's going to be an absolute. Woo, there's going to be questions.
Yes.
I mean, especially since the news kind of just broke today, maybe yesterday, that Bill Belichick may be done in New England after this year. Mm-hmm. Whether that is actually true or false came from a very reliable source. He's one of the most reliable sources.
Right.
And so sounds like Bill's moving on after this year. We will see. But I'm going Chiefs.
I got Chiefs.
Next you got Giants at Saints. Saints, the curb stomped the Panthers. That's not hard to do. They won 28-6. And of course we already talked about the Giants. They had that comeback against the or I guess it was kind of back and forth against the Packers. So these are two NFC teams that I just don't really know about. I mean, one's 6-7, one's 5-8. I don't. We don't really know much about Danny DeVito.
Neither one of them's really impressed me all year long.
So the only slight edge I'm going to see here is that it's in New Orleans. So I might give the slight edge to New Orleans there. That quite literally might be it.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay with the Giants this time. I bailed out on this week, and it cost me, so I think I'll give them another shot this week.
What are you going to do here? Because you always choose the Falcons. They always lose, but they're going against the Panthers.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'll do you an easy favor. The next game is Falcons at Panthers. Panthers are 1 in like 1,000. So Falcons did put up some points here. Against, who the hell did they play? Buccaneers. It was 29-25. So they put up 25 on the Buccaneers. And then
lost.
They did lose, but they put up 25. And now you go up against Carolina, who's 1-12. There's no shot. Carolina's garbage. Carolina's absolute trash. They're winning that one game. I don't see them winning another game. So I'm taking the Falcons here.
Yep.
I don't care. Panthers are at home. Next, you got Washington at Rams. Rams look to be doing really, really good. They're scoring a lot of points again.
Yeah.
They did lose to Baltimore, but it was a really close game. This was a 37. It went to overtime.
It did.
It was a 37-31 game. I think the game ended on a punt return.
Yes, it did.
So really, it didn't end on Lamar having the ball. It ended on a punt return for a touchdown. So, Matt Stafford back to looking okay. He threw for 294, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Team had 128 on the ground. Cooper Kupp being great again. He had 8 for 115.
Commanders have just been
And Commanders are
bad lately. So
yeah. So I think they are coming off of a bye though. I think they had a bye last week. Either way, I'm going Rams. I think they've been putting up a lot of points recently. So they are sitting at 6 and 7. I really don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but with the points they're scoring, I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. I mean,
I don't see the Commanders. Sam Howell is still doing good, but I just really don't. I don't see him putting enough points on the board to compare to the Rams. Oh boy. Next,
49ers and Cardinals. That should be too hard.
You got the game of the week. You got 49ers at Cardinals. Did Cardinals have a bye last week? Did they play? I don't see him in my roll here. So Cardinals had a bye. Probably helped them. 49ers beat Seattle 28-16. Purdy threw for 368. McCaffrey had 145 on the ground. Cardinals, they do have Kyler back. I don't think that's going to matter in the absolute slightest. I'm going 49ers.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to be close. I think 49ers had that 3-game losing streak. They're now 10-3. I think they're the best team in the league. When healthy, I don't think it's close. I think I said it when they curb stomped the Eagles, which was 2 weeks ago. Which we should have talked about it last week. They've curb stomped both the Cowboys
and the Eagles. And now they're looking at a good shot for home field.
And now they're looking at home
field. And
having
that bye week.
Yep.
And there's only one of those now.
Yeah. I think, yeah. This is going to be 49ers all day. Like I said, when healthy, I think this team is the best team in the league without question. Next, you got Cowboys at Bills. Bills came off of that win, as we were talking about, against the Chiefs. And the Cowboys was this the Sunday night game? On the Sunday night, boy. They curb stomped. They beat Philly 33-13.
Mm-hmm.
And now both Dallas and Philly are sitting at 10-3. It's going to be a mess down the stretch to see who wins the division here. They'll both make the playoffs, but who's going to win the division? This would be fighting for the 2 seed, and it used to be the 2 seed would get the bye. Now, as you stated, 7 teams get in.
Right.
Allows only 1 home team. I think that's going to be again. Actually, it could fight for San Francisco and one of these 2 teams
for the home or for the bye.
For the bye,
yeah.
Because right now all three are 10-3, but San Francisco has the tiebreaker over both of them.
Right.
So that's really good.
And Dallas,
Niners has to finish out.
Dallas right now is 7-0 at home, I think, this year.
Dallas is 7-0. Yes.
So
Philly's 5-2, and I just saw Niners were 5-1.
Right.
And Bills are too wishy-washy for me. Now, while Allen did throw for 233, he did throw another pick. He seems like he has a turnover every single game without failure.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, Dak had 271 and 2 touchdowns. I don't like this for the Bills, and unfortunately, I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to win this.
Yeah, I'm happy to choose the Cowboys. Don't like to, but
Yeah.
The Bills have just been a little roller coaster this year, and so
yeah,
I'll go with the Cowboys on this one.
And I'm going to say after this year, I think that Bills window of making that Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the year that they lost in overtime to the Chiefs. They had a very short window to get to the Super Bowl. It was like 2 years ago. They had like a 1 to 2 year window.
Yeah.
I think after this year, I think the Bills' chances are I don't even think it's cracked anymore. I think it's closed after this year.
Wow.
I think it's done.
That's not something the Bills Mafia wants to hear.
No, but they probably don't want to hear their best wide receiver talking before the season that he doesn't want to be there, and then halfway through the season, every game, he's throwing his helmet halfway across the room, and he's frustrated in that offense. Diggs wants out. So next, you got the Sunday night game, which is Ravens at Jaguars. Yeah, this is another one. This is where you said, yeah. I know it's in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence, I don't know how much that ankle is going to still be a problem. I know he played, but he didn't play well. Now you're going against a Ravens defense, which isn't the normal Ravens defense. But now you have to go against Lamar instead of Joe Flacco. So, you're going from an ex-Raven to, the upgraded Lamar who can run all over you if he wants to. I'm definitely thinking I'm going Ravens here, which will, again, help us.
Yeah, they just lost the last two to the Browns and somebody else, Jacksonville.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I got to stay with the Ravens on this one.
So I'm going Ravens. Next is Eagles at Seahawks. We just talked about the Eagles getting curb stomped by Philly on national TV on Sunday night. And then
Eagles are Philly.
I'm sorry. The Eagles lost to Dallas on Sunday night. And then Seattle lost to, obviously, San Francisco. And Philly's dropped 2 straight. I don't think they're going to lose 3 straight.
No, I don't.
I think both the Chiefs and Eagles bounce from their losses. Seahawks are a team that they could do that against. So I know it's in Seattle. That's quite literally opposite side of the country, going from Philly to Seattle. I think Seattle can bounce back here. Or I'm sorry, I think Philly can bounce back against
I got
Seattle.
the Eagles.
So, that's just hopefully. I mean, I really don't like Philly, but
outside of that Miami game that you and I kind of disagree on,
I think
where's Eric standing on most of these?
I don't know.
things?
I haven't seen Eric's picks. I didn't ask him. I'm sorry. I normally do. I will get his picks. We'll try to see if we can post them, but I didn't get his picks this week.
All right, yeah.
We'll see later. We have the Jets, and I think that you went Giants and I went Saints.
Giants and Saints. Yep, yeah.
Yeah, so we have 2 differences.
Okay.
Now, let's talk about one more thing before we get out of here. Just because I know you and I follow this a little bit closely. This was probably announced right after, we probably would have talked about it last week. We'll go in since heading into this season. It is also college bowl season. So, how do you feel about the college football playoff?
The 4 finalists?
Yes. Specifically, do you think they got it correct?
No, I do not. My final 4, if I was a part of the committee, would have been Michigan, Washington, Georgia would have been number 3,
Okay.
and Florida State would have stayed at number 4.
Ooh, I disagree there.
And then they could take their Cotton Bowl and put Alabama and Texas
Nope.
and let them play their little Cotton Bowl.
I disagree there.
But in the process, they hosed both Georgia and Florida State
Yes.
just for the sake of putting almighty Alabama in there.
So,
And I thought it was totally wrong.
So, for those who may not know, if you don't, you're living under a rock. The Final 4 is number 1, Michigan, number 2, Washington, number 3, Texas, and number 4, Alabama. I actually agree with the top 3. I'm okay with Texas sliding to 4. I would not keep Texas out. I'm okay if you want to take FSU out. I don't think they should have, because they are an undefeated Power 5 team who won a conference championship.
Yes.
Now, I understand they're now on their third quarterback, but since losing their starter, they still went 3-0. Did they struggle in their conference championship? Absolutely. Sure, fine. Point is, they won. Georgia lost because their kicker doinked the field goal on the tying thing. Before that, Georgia was what, 29-0 going into it?
29-0
With back-to-back championships?
Back-to-back.
And you're sliding them?
And they had been number one for literally the
The entire season except for like
almost
1 week?
the whole season.
Except for 1 week when Ohio State was up there?
And then you give them it
And then you drop
historical
them to
drop
6?
to 6. Yeah.
No shot.
No.
I would have been okay with a Texas Georgia or a Texas or a Georgia Texas. I don't really know if you. I understand the point of taking FSU out of there. It would have totally. See, this is why the 4 would never work. I actually don't like the 12 game that they're about to go to.
Right.
I would much rather be happy with an 8.
Yeah.
You have to do an 8, either an 8 or a 12. I think 12 is too many. Because if you look at it, 8 would have been perfect this year. If you look at the teams, the 4 I just said, you could have easily made an argument for Alabama. Fine.
Texas.
Georgia, well, but Texas is currently in there. Is already in there.
With yours.
So the other ones that they slided, right? Alabama, FSU. No, Alabama was in there. Excuse me. Georgia would be one. Excuse me, because Alabama's in there. So you'd have Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Georgia, FSU, Oregon, and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be my 8. I can't name another 4 that would be worthy enough to be in there. I understand Oregon is a 2-loss college team. Their 2 losses were to Washington, and both were competitive.
Yes.
So I'm okay with a 2-loss in there. Now, my other argument that I will say that I hate about college is their conference championships.
Yeah.
And I understand someone was arguing, well, you got to do East-West. Why? Explain to me why. Because here's the thing. Michigan should have never played Iowa.
Right.
It should have been. I understand it's because they were the best in the West. I don't care. Iowa was 17. Iowa had absolutely no shot in hell to go up into the Final Four. You know who did? Ohio State.
Yep.
It should have been Michigan versus Ohio State again, because if Ohio State had won that rematch, Ohio State's in the playoffs. And Michigan's probably out. Probably. I'd say probably.
Yeah, they were.
Who knows how they would have done that? But that's exactly what they just did to Alabama and Georgia.
Right.
So Ohio State winning the conference championship on that argument, Michigan would not be the conference championship. That's what they just did to Georgia. Georgia isn't a conference champion. Alabama is. So Alabama, they're conference championship. So on that logic, Ohio State would have won and been in there on a 1-loss team to Michigan, who they then just beat in the conference championship. Why didn't they get the win? Iowa would have had nothing. No argument. Even if they won, to be in there.
They weren't going to even get... No, they wouldn't even been looked at.
So that's why I despise the conference championships. They make no sense.
It's a money game. That's all that is.
A money game. You would have had so much more money if it was Michigan, Ohio State again in the conference championship.
Yeah, but that just that college championship series or whatever.
Yeah.
Those games there, conference championship games, those were just added as money games.
Look, I know they're getting so big now because now the Big Ten's adding 4 teams from the West. So yeah, you're gonna have more teams in the West because you're adding Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA.
Right.
Yeah. So those are gonna be some great games. It made no sense. But yeah, we're gonna see a lot of debate was on why Alabama got in there. If anything, a lot of people were mad FSU didn't get in, and a lot of people were mad that Alabama got in. Period. Because it either should have been FSU stayed or Georgia got in. There should have been no reason. Texas, I like being in there. I'm fine. They're conference champion.
As and the 3 teams that were undefeated, should have had the right to have been in there.
Uh-huh.
And as a one-loss team, I think even though Georgia lost Alabama, Texas beat Alabama.
Yep.
So what?
Under their, I know you want to put Georgia in over Texas, but if they're going to go by the same logic of keeping, technically by their like, what do they call that? Not rules, but they have certain like attributes that they follow, take down. If you're following that, and that's why you're keeping FSU in, undefeated, Power 5 team, conference winner.
Right.
Under that logic, Texas and Georgia are now one-loss teams. Texas has the conference champion, and Georgia doesn't. Therefore, they have the other attribute. You have to put Texas in over Georgia. That would be why I keep them in there.
Yeah, but it's not a written rule.
No, but that's the attributes that they say they go by.
Yeah, so the attributes they go
and they just went against it by keeping FSU out.
There's also the thing is who deserves to be there.
I think Texas more than Georgia. I've seen Georgia struggle a lot more than Texas has.
How did a team go from being ranked number one so long,
And drop 5 points?
having the opportunity for a 3-time championship, and then being denied it because the kicker hit the crossbar?
I still play the argument that both Georgia...
How it would have played out afterwards, if it had gone to overtime, we don't know.
I still would have put Texas in there no matter what. But I still say that both Georgia and FSU should both deny the offer of what the hell are they playing? The Peach Bowl?
Is it Cotton Bowl?
Oh, is it the Cotton? Okay, so
I-
whatever bloody bowl they're playing in, they should deny it.
I think so. I think you ought to just say, you know what? Why should we even show up? The season doesn't mean anything.
And
I'd like to see them do it.
Yeah, and then you know what? There goes their money. Let's see if I can find it. It is the Orange Bowl.
The Orange Bowl.
Excuse me. It's the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of guys from Florida have already said they're not playing.
We have the Rose Bowl. Michigan and Alabama have the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And then the Sugar Bowl is Washington and Texas. So we will play on, what the hell day are we playing on? What day is it?
31st? First, something like that?
January 1st.
January 1st.
We play New Year's Day. So, yeah, we rambled about college at the end just because I knew we hadn't talked about it. We had to throw it out there. I knew you and I would have more to talk about than Eric. But, yeah, we may have some more of that come next few weeks as it gets close. When it gets closer to that. Hopefully we get Eric back next week. Next week would definitely be our Christmas episode. And the week after that would be after the holidays. So holidays get kind of messy. We'll see what we can do. So yeah. Till next time, let's see how these games pan out. Hopefully Colts will win when Zach and I go. Yeah. You guys have a good one.
Have a good holiday season. Have a safe holiday season.
Yep. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace out.